Hi guys, just got back from my walk and I'm going to show you egg roll in a bowl, my take on it, and my cauliflower fried rice. So here's what you need. The recipe calls for 1.5 pounds of ground beef, but I use, like I said, always more meat. So I'm using 2 pounds and I really like grass-fed ground beef. 2 onions. This is way more than 2 onions. I had like 2 big ones and 3 small ones. So I'm just chopping them off because I'm going to use a ton in the fried rice as well. You need sesame oil, and I think this is what makes it. The taste that gives anything is just amazing. Ginger. I picked up some fresh ginger today, so I'm using fresh ginger, but I've also used this stir and paste ginger, which makes it like super easy. And the recipe actually calls for powdered ginger, so, but I'm using some fresh stuff today because it smells amazing. Black pepper, more garlic. I'll use all this and lots more probably in my fried rice. Salt, stevia sweetens it up a little bit. I use this like liquid stevia, but there's other kinds, and I think I might have used Splenda before. I don't remember. I've only made this like 4 or 5 times. It's also called crack slaw, like a coleslaw, but it's so good. Crushed red pepper. I think you could probably also use like sriracha if you like that. White wine. They call for beef broth. Again, I use my bone broth. It only calls for 1/3 cup, and I took out 4 cups. Just because I'm going to use I'll probably use a container for the fried rice, and then I'm going to use probably all the rest also. Shredded cabbage. It calls for 9 cups of shredded cabbage. Little tip here, I like to shred mine really small because otherwise it's like hard. I don't know. I'll explain when I get to that part, I guess. What else do you need? A carrot, like some shredded carrots. Like probably that would be best if you bought shredded carrots, but they didn't have any. So and I have this to use up. And again, anything like leftover, I throw into a bag. So all my onions and stuff are in there, and that'll be used for broth later. What else does it call for? It calls for tamari, which I think is gluten-free soy sauce, I think. But I'll have to look that up for sure. But what I use is coconut aminos because I love them. They taste just like soy sauce to me, and it doesn't have, all the sodium. It's better for you. It might not have any carbs either. Let's see. It has 7 carbs, but it's sugar alcohols. So there you go. And I think it also costs for green onion, but I just use a shit ton of regular onions. So that's what you're going to need. And then I have this is a whole head of cauliflower. And for my fried rice, I put that directly, not cooked, chopped up, pretty roughly, and I put it right into my food processor. And I just make it really, really small with these, with these shredded, with the shredded disc. So I'm gonna finish prepping here, and then we'll get started. Okay, we wanna brown our ground beef. That's our first step. All right, once your meat is brown, you're gonna add your onions and your sesame oil. I just put a ton of onions and just sprinkle sesame oil all over it. And you're gonna cook your onions till they're like, translucent, maybe turning a little color. Again, not following directions, I'm just, it's so yummy. After my onions cook for a little while, I'm going to add a bunch of garlic. I don't even know if the recipe says to do this, but I add onion and garlic to everything. So I'll put a big scoop of garlic in there, and it needs maybe another minute or so. All right, now I'm gonna add my spices, sweetener, which is the liquid stevia, red pepper, some wine, and some broth, and the fresh. I added the garlic already, but the fresh ginger I just put in, so I'm gonna add all those spices. I'm gonna let that cook up. I added 2 cups of broth because I wanted that consistency because I'm gonna add so much cabbage, and then cook the cabbage down in it, and it'll wilt and become soft. Okay, now I'm gonna add all my cabbage, and like I said, I would really shred it up. It makes eating it a lot easier. You made coleslaw, like the coleslaw in a bag would probably be a great substitution for this, so you don't have to cut it up. But I bought a head of cabbage, and that's how much I'm going to put in. That's only half of it. I'm going to let that cook down a little bit and then add the rest. Okay, I stirred it up. It's cooked down a little bit, and now I'll add the rest of my cabbage. It's hard to cook with one hand. Okay, while this is cooking down, it's been a few minutes, but I'm gonna still let it keep cooking down and stirring it. Letting that cabbage almost stew. I'm gonna heat up in this pan some olive oil and start the fried rice. Now it's really the consistency of more like a couscous out of my food processor, but I like it that way. But obviously you could even buy frozen cauliflower rice and it'll be super easy. So I'm just gonna warm that up. I'm gonna do onions and garlic once that heats up a little bit. I'm gonna fry up some onions. Once they become translucent, I will add the garlic. Cook that down a little bit more. Salt and pepper maybe. The fried, or the cauliflower rice, couscous, whatever you wanna call it. A little bit of my broth, and I'll probably add more coconut aminos to that to give it that, soy sauce flavor. Just use the same spatula. Those coated in some olive oil. Cook them down. Once your cabbage is nice and wilted, add carrots. Now I'm just adding basically for color. I like carrots, but not a ton, because my family doesn't want them. I do. And I like to cook those down too. I think the recipe only calls for a few minutes, but I cook them until they're nice and soft. And then all you're going to do is add your tamari or coconut aminos or soy sauce, whatever you're using, and that'll be it. That's time over there to add garlic. Okay, a nice big hunk of garlic. That smells amazing in here. Put that down a minute or two maybe. And then I'm going to add my rice. And there's my rice. And then I have some broth over there if I need it. Definitely going to put some salt and pepper. My carrots in. Let them cook. What a messy cook. It's alright. I clean up everything. So it's going to cook down for a while. A couple minutes. And then I'll add my coconut aminos. Probably around the same time that I add them over here. Dump cauliflower onto my onions. I'm just going to mix that up. Might need a little bit more oil or broth or however you want to fry this. I prefer to do it on a little bit of broth and cook it that way versus so much oil. So I added a cup of broth, and I'm going to do salt and pepper. Now, some people add egg. Some people also cook their cauliflower ahead of time, like maybe steam it. Those are all good options. I just found the last time I did this, it really didn't need to be pre-cooked. So I'm just using fresh cauliflower. This is looking amazing. I'm gonna probably go ahead and put the coconut, so you could even kind of steam that, cover it, if you have a cover, and kind of steam the vegetables a little bit. Now I'm gonna fry it up. Salt, pepper, a little bit of coconut aminos. I'm not adding an egg. I don't find it needs it to bind it because I'm just putting all my other yummy stuff on top of it. But I'm really gonna cook this down. I'm gonna cook it, for a while. And this is looking great. If I had a cover, I would cover this and let it stew while my rice is cooking. So we're almost ready to eat it. My daughter's excited. She said it sounds wonderful. Just put the fried rice at the bottom of the bowl. Top it with that goodness. Egg roll in a bowl.